This podcast contains discussions around depression and suicide. If you're experiencing feelings of sadness, depression or thoughts of self-harm, stop, seek help now. There is someone waiting to talk to you right now on Lifeline's crisis hotline, 131114, or call 000. This podcast may also contain some unintentional coarse language and political incorrectness.
Nah. Nah. Nah, bugger that. Nah, you wouldn't be dead for Quids.
Welcome to episode 5 of You Wouldn't Be Dead for Quids. This is the Augustella Fella podcast, a no BS discussion on what life throws at you and how you actually deal with that. I'm Ruth Geis, and joining me is Graham Cotter. He's the tyre tycoon, the goat whisperer, the oracle of the outback, or as I like to call him, that Augustella fella. How you doing, Graham?
Wouldn't be dead for Quids, Ruth.
Graham, alongside your passion of helping men achieve better mental health, and all people better mental health, you also have KISS Business Management, and you have authored the very easy-to-read book called Don't Suck the Pencils. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, no worries, Ruth. Actually, Don't Suck the Pencils is sort of a testimony to persistence. Actually, it's not a big read, and it's specifically targeting the road transport industry, in particular owner drivers and small fleet operators, because I have a real passion for the road transport industry and the smaller operators in that space, because they don't get the recognition and the respect and more importantly the remuneration they deserve, because without the jobs that those blokes do, this country would grind to a halt. The supermarket shelves would be empty and everything else. One of my favourite sayings is there's two industries you don't want to be in this country. Is one's as a small business or a medium-sized operator is primary production and road transport. Without either of them, everybody would starve to death. But they're the least respected and the most poorly remunerated in most cases, which is pretty sad. So what became obvious to me in my time as in that transport sector, and even since because I operated both the transport and the tyre business simultaneously for a long time. So I met a lot of truck drivers and been in contact with a lot of people in that industry, and to a large extent, especially in the owner-operator space, the business understanding was very limited. And it's not only applies to truck drivers. You can be an excellent tradie and go bundy up with because unless you've got the basic business fundamentals, and they don't change whatever business you're in, they stay the same. So unless you've got those boxes ticked, and you're going to struggle, or more than likely you're going to fail. And that's the reality of it.
And so it's practical. I mean, there's practical knowledge in the book in terms of just those simple equations that you need to get right to make sure you're going to make money. You're going to go forward, not backwards.
Yeah, that's a case in point, because at the end of the day, when you sort of buy a small business or you buy a truck and all the rest of it, you're buying yourself a job. So and if the old saying, find a job you love and never work another day in your life. Well, it certainly. If you don't get it right, it doesn't become a joy. It becomes an absolute, the bane of your existence. So especially because there's nothing worse than chasing money and not being able to make ends meet and try and dodging creditors and all that sort of stuff. Because I can assure you that that is stressful. And sadly, one of the reasons one of the biggest reasons for suicide, sadly, is that failure in business.
Wow. And this because this week we are looking at the past. What's happened to you in the past in business doesn't necessarily, and the same in life, doesn't need to be your future. Your past doesn't have to be your future, whether it's business or...
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ruth. Like I say, one of my favourite sayings is whatever happened in our lives never wasted. It might seem like crap at the time and all the rest of it, but at some point in time, it's our past that's got us to where we are here now, and here and now. And I guess that the most important thing is that we don't make the same mistakes. And
do you have any regrets?
no, not really. In all honesty, Ruth, I'm more than happy with what's happened in my life.
Because you've done some tough stuff.
Oh.
You've been through some tough stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess, would you be the person you are today had that not been the case?
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not, Ruth. And I guess there's some basic fundamentals there that have always been me, and what shaped me is what's happened, and it's the crap that usually when you pick yourself up and dust it off and say, well, what did I learn from that? That's the attitude you got to have, and because you be rest assured that things are going to happen in the future that you're going to have no control over and probably knock your ass over it again. But it's once you've got up once, well, you've had a bit of practice, so you just keep getting up.
I think one of the worst things is, there are things that are going to knock you A over T, but one of them is yourself.
Yeah.
One of them is like, oh, you're stuffed up again. It's that self-talk.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. You did the wrong thing. It's that self-talk. Being able to let that go rather than, I guess, so you don't have really any regrets about, and even though those things were really tough, you don't regret them because they taught you something. So when you look back, you're not reliving the pain, you're remembering the lesson.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, that's 100%, Ruth, because, at the end of the day, and that's, and as part of, to get back onto both the rapid transformational therapy, it's that process, that hypnosis process is going back and actually changing your perception of what happened. The way you see things as a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, or whatever. Your world, in your world today, it takes a whole different perspective. But if you still hold on to that programming that was of a 7-year-old that happened back then your world today is all out of kilter.
It's like you've chained yourself to it.
Yeah, you've changed, and that's exactly
you
what
chained
happened.
to something. You chained yourself
Yeah.
to something that happened when you were a small child.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happens, and that RTT process is actually go back and put it into perspective. There's a number of tools that we use in relation to how we do that, and one of the tools, the most powerful tool that I found doing my sessions is dialogue with the herder. And that's under hypnosis. You actually, whoever did the wrong thing, be it physically or otherwise, talk to them about it. And it's pretty amazing. And
we're not talking face to face, by the way. We're just...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we're just, you're given the opportunity to say those things that, you couldn't say as a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old. Say, whoever it is, you shouldn't have done that. You don't realise how. And getting that, being able to say that, even though the person's not there, being able to say that more often than not, the person's passed away, So, but have that conversation,
And I can absolutely vouch for, because if you had said to me beforehand, these feelings that you have about this certain subject, you're going to let them go. I mean, you can try and pry them from my cold dead hands, Graham. But it is amazing what you can let go of and how much freer you can feel by going through something like that.
Yes, it really is amazing, and sometimes when you bring people back to the present and from hypnosis and they've been through one of those sessions, I always remember the little 21-year-old who suffered. She was a beautiful girl actually, but suffered severe anxiety like you wouldn't believe, and we did a session and she did the dialogue with the herder and what have you, and when I brought her back, I said, "How do you feel?" And she said, "I feel really strange." And I said, "Strange in a good way?" And she nodded, but we talked a bit and what have you. And when she walked away, well, we do a process of the magic wand. What do you want? And her magic wand was to be peacefully contented. And after that session, it struck me that it was the first time in her life that she actually felt peacefully contented, and it was strange. She didn't know what it felt like. Pretty amazing, eh?
Yeah. Amazing results.
Yeah.
Amazing things that happens in that space between our ears. Now, today, Graham is going to give us a little treat. We'll finish off because I've asked Graham if he might just take us through the start of a mindfulness exercise. So when you're all out of sorts and your brain is all over the place, how do you bring yourself back into your body and bring yourself back into the present? So instead of worrying about what happened in the past or worried about what you need to do tomorrow, how do you just bring yourself back into the here and now? Before we do that, any final thoughts, Graham?
No, not really, Ruth. I guess, it comes back to our minds responds to the words we say and the pictures we make. So change the words, change the pictures, change your life. It really is that simple. And the word KISS, keep it simple, stupid, has always resonated with me. And it really is, the keep it simple. And this whole process of mindfulness is exactly that. It's not hard. It's very, very simple, but has an amazing impact on every aspect of our lives once we start to practice it.
Yeah, it's so simple. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's it for episode 5. You wouldn't be dead for Quids. Now, what have we got next time?
Next time, Ruth, we're going to have a chat about coping with whatever comes our way. Life's going to continually sneak up on you, and it's how you respond to that.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Looking forward to it. Now, if you've got a subject that you'd like to hear about from Graham, then you can check him out on Facebook under Graham Cotter, the Augathella fella, and hit him up with whatever your question might like to be. And now, if you don't want to wait for the next episode, if you want to start making some positive changes and you could use a hand, remember that the Augathella fella is available for face-to-face and online consultations. So if you want to have a chat, you can have a 30-minute, completely free, no obligation chat with Graham. You just go to www.kissbusiness.com.au. We'll put the link in the description. I'll finish off by saying thank you for listening to Graham Cotter, the Augathella Fella podcast. You wouldn't be dead for Quids. We'll catch you soon for episode 6, but hang on now for Graham's mindfulness exercise.
Thanks, Ruth. Just first up, make sure you don't do this while you're driving the car or operating machinery. And it's a very simple exercise, and I'll just give you, as I've said a number of times, mindfulness is heightened awareness of what you're thinking, the physical self and the values that define who we are. So I'll just do the first part, the physical aspect of it, and so to give you a bit of an idea as to what's involved and why, how I start my day. So just make yourself comfortable, find yourself a comfortable chair, one that you normally sit in, or as long as you're feeling comfortable, that's the main thing. Don't cross your legs or your arms or anything like that. Just just make yourself comfortable and relax and just sit back and just close your eyes and just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Another deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. One more time, just breathe in. And as you breathe out, just allow drifting, floating feeling to develop. Just drift deeper, float deeper, sink deeper and deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper into an awareness of your physical self. Awareness. Feel the weight of your arms. Feel your shoulders. Feel your upper arms. Feel your elbows. Feel your forearms. Feel your wrists. Feel your hands. Feel your fingers. Feel the tingling in your fingers. Let your mind drift down to your legs. Feel the weight of your legs. Feel your buttocks. Feel your hips. Feel your thighs. Feel your knees. Feel your calves. ankles. Feel your feet. Feel your toes. Feel the tingling in your toes. Shift your focus now to your head. Feel your eyes. Feel your ears. Feel your nose. Feel the air pass through your nostrils across your tongue. Let your mind drift. Feel your torso. Feel the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. Feel your heart beating. Feel your amazing heart beating. Just stay there for a moment. That awareness of your physical self. Feeling totally relaxed. And when you're ready, just open your eyes and take a deep breath. That's a very brief, gives you a brief idea as to what's involved, and that will continue on for, in my case, my meditation's 22 minutes. So, but I cover a lot of country, but it's all about being centered, sort of grounding myself for the day ahead, and preparing myself for the things that I want to have happen in my day.
Thank you, Graham. That was amazing.
Thank you, Ruth.